We all have those favorite builds, whether it's something that you built or something that you rode in, or maybe even just something that you've seen before. Everybody's kind of got that favorite build. And tonight I want to talk about my favorite build to date. Out of all the cars that I've built, all the ones that I've owned, I have one that stands out. And you guys probably already know what it is. We're going to go into more detail tonight. And I'm going to explain to you why and some other things. My favorite build is none other than the Carbon Fox. Now it is the newest build that we have. So, you know, chances are I'm gonna probably lean more towards this one, but I really do think that this is the best build that I've done so far. And let's start by going over what it is. Engine wise, this is a 1968 302. It has the link bar lifters in it. 28 ounce balanced, basically stock bottom end. It has a set of aftermarket pistons. It's got a set of old school Canfield heads on it. I think they're the 192cc 202 valves, Holley System Max intake, 80-pound injectors, Anderson N51 HR camshaft, Vortech Ti trim on about 12 pounds of boost, Accufab throttle body, shorty headers, 1.5" into 2.5 all the way out with Jones mufflers, full bore mufflers, 410 gears, stock suspension on this car, completely stock other than cut springs. So this car has stock springs, they've been cut. That's what gives it the stance that it's got. Car has an AOD, but it is an AOD 4R70 hybrid, meaning it's an AOD case, but it has 4R70 internals in it. Some of the internals have been upgraded to 4R70 parts. Pretty simple build. When I set out to build this car, one of the things that I wanted to make sure of was that it's a good driver. I wanted anybody in my family, my friends, my next door neighbor, I wanted anybody to be able to get in this car and drive it and not have to worry about anything. Like, well, how do you work the shifter? You know, what kind of gas do I need to put in it? You know, to start with, it was going to be a bone stock build. When we initially started talking about this car, I was pretty sure it was going to be like a stock build. Then we started talking a little bit and some things changed. We decided to throw a cam in it, decided to put the Canfield heads back on it, and so on and so forth. Now, I've had many people ask me, why did you change the build up so drastically? If you wanted this to be a street car, why have you changed it up so much? Well, to answer that question, it's pretty simple. I'm a car guy, and I want to upgrade things, same as you guys do, right? Maybe you're more into the appearance, or maybe you're more into, you know, drag racing, could be stereo system or whatever in your car. That's what we do. We modify things. So I knew that like a stock car is fun, and it is. It's fun in a different way. But I knew for the channel, we needed to probably build some steam with this one, if you will. When we first started the build on this car, it had no supercharger. All it had was a trick flow stage 1 camshaft and the Holley upper and lower intake. That was it. Like 19-pound injectors, I think, is what we had in this thing, and whatever else. 410 gears. We did put those in pretty early. Car ran great. Like, I loved it. I could have left it like that. Here's the funny thing. This car still drives as good as it did the day we put this thing together, with a small trick flow stage 1 camshaft in it, no supercharger, no built automatic, like it had the stock AOD in it then. Yeah, guys, it's still as easy to drive right now as it was then. So this is what I want to talk about next. When I decided to change the camshaft to put the N412 camshaft in the car, I think people understood it. They're like, okay, that's basically a boosted camshaft for like an automatic car. So it kind of makes sense. It works as a boosted cam. You know, why would you put a more radical camshaft in this car if you want to keep it a street car? It's because it has an automatic in it. And a normal automatic with no stall and not a lot of gear, you're probably going to regret putting a big cam in one. You're going to need some gear in the car, and you're going to need a stall. Well, this car has those things. So what's the difference? Can I tell a difference between the N51 cam, which is a good bit bigger cam, than the N412? No, I can't. I can't tell any difference as far as drivability goes. The car drives just as easily. It idles great, in my opinion, better because it sounds better. The car doesn't die whenever I come up to a stop sign or a red light or anything. It doesn't hiccup and act crazy and buck whenever I'm going like slow through a neighborhood. It doesn't do anything. It's guys, listen to me. This is the best of both worlds. This automatic with that stall, this supercharger, that cam, it's the best of all worlds. It just works. Think about this. You could put anybody in this car. Now, understand that this car makes some good power, so you'd have to be careful with that. You know, but outside of that, if somebody were to get in this car and just need to drive it, right, and they kept their foot out of the gas, you could put a 16-year-old girl behind the wheel of this and not have any problems. Like, that's how easy it is to drive. Let that sink in for a second. Now, we don't know the horsepower that this car makes, but we'll just call it 500. I'm sure this thing makes 500 horsepower. I'm sure of it. And you could put somebody like that in it and never miss a beat. I think that's cool. This is the reason why I wanted to make this video. Builds like this get overlooked. But this is a well thought out build. And it really is. I really sat down and I thought to myself, what do I want to do with this car? And kind of like, how far can we push it and still keep it as streetable as stock? I think this was it. The camshaft is not too big. It works very good with this supercharger. The gears, the only thing you could argue would be the 410 gears. The 410s would probably not work for somebody who had to drive this car on the interstate. I mean, you can, people do it, but 373 would be a better option. But perfectly streetable if you're just, 65, 70 mile an hour occasionally, no problem. But getting back to what I was saying, we overlook builds like this because it seems like it's going to be rowdy, right? But it's not at all rowdy, other than the noise. This car makes a lot of noise. Like, the supercharger's loud, the exhaust is loud, and the cam sounds pretty good in it. So now, one other thing that I want to touch on is what happens if you do this exact build with a 5-speed? Will it work as good as the automatic? Will there be a difference? I mean, this would work for a 5-speed car, for sure. It would work, but I probably wouldn't be as high on it as I am with this. That's a lot of gear. It's a decent amount of cam, and this cam's got some decent duration. I'm not sure that I would do that. I would probably scale it back. I'd probably scale the cam back a little bit. Probably go with like a B21 or B31 camshaft in this car. A 355 to 373 gear at the most, and I think you would be okay. The cam and the gear selection is what gets you in a 5-speed car. Meaning, if you don't have enough gear and you've got a pretty big camshaft, the car is going to want to act crazy and buck and jerk with you at low speeds. With this, the converter just sucks it all up, so no problem. So check this out. If some of you are looking for your next build and you're looking at something similar to this, and this seems like something you could maybe afford to do or pull off or whatever the case may be, you're interested in it, go for it. Listen to me, guys. Go for it. This has been the most fun car that I've owned. There's something about the simplicity of it, the fact you can just get in it and drive it. I know there's a lot of hate for AODs, for automatics in general. Guys, here's what I want to say. Growing up, the essence of a hot rod was a built automatic car. That, to me, is what hot rodding was for me. Everybody's different. You saw 4-speed and 5-speed cars running around back in the day. But for the most part, if you were serious about racing, the automatic was the way to go. So to me, I love a built automatic. Man, there's nothing like a solid roller cam with a 4500 stall and some gear with a 2-speed power glide. Like, there's not much in life better than that. Obviously, that's not what this car is. I'm talking more of a radical street build that's like probably shouldn't even really be on the street. But those are so freaking fun. They're fun cars. But fun and usable are two different things. This is the most fun I think you would have if you like somewhat of a rowdy, loud setup. I think this is the most fun you can get. I really do. It's a package that works. Now, obviously, you can't buy the Canfield heads, so just get a good head. You know, somewhere around 185 to 200 cc head, somewhere around there, and I think you would be good to go. I like this cam selection with this car, though. With this build, the cam really just ties it all in together, guys. Before we wrap this video up, here's what I want you to know. I'm going to make notes. I'm literally going to take a piece of paper and I'm going to write out every piece and part to this car right now that makes it tick, that's in this thing. And I'm going to like file that away. And at some point in my life, I'm going to build another one. This has been by far my favorite build so far. You know, imagine this with a dart block and a 331 or a 347. Imagine. You could beat this thing for days and never have any problems. The stock block kind of does worry me a little bit, but it's fine. It's a stock block, guys. If we tear it up, we'll just get another one. I hope you enjoyed this video. I really wanted to take some time to let you know my thoughts on this build, because I've been so over the moon with it that I didn't want you to think, well, yeah, I mean, of course he's going to like it. It's the newest build that he's got, and it's the latest and greatest. No, no, no. There's something special. So with that being said, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up. Give this a try. If it's something you're interested in, get close to it maybe. Put a smaller blower. Run one of these Anderson cams, though. I do recommend that. Run one of these Anderson cams in the car. A small blower. A good AOD with a shift kit and a stall. Something simple. Maybe a set of AFRs or trick flows or something like that. So get as close to this build as you can, and I think you're going to really freaking like it. I'm going to wrap this video up, guys. And as always, thanks for watching.